This video covers session 5, which is just the starting of the second part of your case study, and it's focused in controlling. The scenario is quite different to the scenario that you saw before in your previous exercises, but the example is quite popular. Then the example is just assessing the cafeteria costs according to other areas in a fictitious company by allocating activities between different cost centers. One of them is maintenance and the other is assembly. In particular, session number 5 illustrates basic master data and planning methods in the cost center accounting area. For this purpose, 3 cost center master records are created and the internal service integrations between them are modeled. So in this order, we're going to prepare master data. First of all, cost centers, then secondary cost elements, then activity types, at the end, cost centers groups. So now just start logging into our SAP system. Remember that the system in which we are working on is IDIS 09-10. So select that and click log on. In this section, we're going to prepare master data for your business scenario. Two main things we're going to do in this section: creating master data for cost centers and creating a statistical key figure. Remember that a cost center represents an organizational unit within a controlling area and specifies a uniquely defined instance where costs are incurred. 3 cost centers will be created. The first one is canteen, the next one is maintenance, and finally assembly. For doing so, you can either type the transaction code in your menu bar or find the transaction code in the SAP Easy Access menu 3. So we're going to opt for the first option. So we're going to type KS01. The first code for our canteen cost center is CC-CA80. For this exercise, I'm going to use the account number 80, but you have been assigned with a different number, so just do the proper number for these cost centers. The validity of the cost center will be from the first day of this year, which is the 1st January 2009. So click enter, and now the name and the description that I'm going to use for this cost center is canteen, and then the number of my account, which is 80. As a person responsible, you can type any name. For this example, I'm going to type my name. The cost center category is 2. The hierarchy area is H1120. Company code is 1000. The business area is 9900. And the profit center is 1000. Once you've finished of typing your codes, you can click enter and verify that the description of the codes is exactly the descriptions and the codes that you need for this cost center. Once you have verified that, you can save by clicking on the save icon. The second cost center we need to create is maintenance. For this cost center, the codes are CC minus MA minus and the number assigned to you, in my case 80. The validity of the cost center is exactly the same. For the name and description, I'm going to use maintenance and the number of my accounts. The person responsible for this could be any, but I decide that I'm going to use the same person, which is in my case myself. The cost center category is 2. The hierarchy area is H1 430. The company code is 1000. The business area is 9900. And the profit center is 1000. Once again, you can click enter and verify that the names of the descriptions are according to the codes. Once you do that, you can save your cost center. And finally, because the last cost center, we need to create this cost center for assembly. So the codes are CC minus AS minus 80. The validity from the first day of the year. The name and the description is assembly and my number. I'm gonna be the same. I'm gonna be the person responsible for this cost center. The cost center category is 1. The hierarchy is H1 for 20. Company code is 1000. The business area is 1000, and the profit center is 1000. Once again, you can click enter and verify that the descriptions are correct. Now save your cost center. Now we're going to create a statistical key figure. Remember that a statistical key figure normally is going to help you for the costs. In this case, because of the cost of the canteen are assessed for 3 cost centers, including itself, the number of employees in the cost center is the allocation base for cost apportionment. So normally, what is going to happen in these exercises are that the cost centers are going to be charged between them based on the number of employees that they attend. In order to create our statistical key figure, you need to type KK01, and the name for this statistical key figure is EM minus and your number, in my case 80. You need to click enter and then the name, so it's number of employees, and the statistical key figure unit, which is persons. And the key figure category is a fixed value. After that, you need to click, you need to save the statistical key figure. Okay, and we are done for the first part of this. In the second part of this video, we are going to create secondary cost elements. So in this section, our activities will be focused on secondary cost elements for canteen assessment, secondary cost element for activity allocation of maintenance hours, secondary cost element for activity allocation of assembly hours, and then create activity types. So we need to create an activity type for maintenance hours, an activity type for assembly hours, and at the end we're going to create a cost center group for the canteen assessment. Remember that a cost element classifies the proposed related evaluated consumption of factors of production within a controlling area. Examples of these are internal cost flows or activity flows. One important thing about secondary cost elements that in contrast to primary cost elements, secondary cost elements do not have any corresponding cost-related chart of accounts item. It means that normally primary cost elements have an item in the chart of accounts. Secondary cost elements don't have. So the first things, as I said before, we're going to create a secondary cost elements for canteen assessment. The transaction that we need to use is KA06 and the cost element we need to create is PLA 80, as remember that I'm using the 80 number that you need to use. And the validity of this cost element is from the first day of the year. As a name, I'm gonna use plan assessment for canteen. As the description, I'm gonna use the same. As a category element, I'm gonna use 42. Then you can click enter just to verify that you have supplied the correct data. And once you do that, you can save the secondary cost element. The second secondary cost element you need to create is the cost element for activity allocation of maintenance hours. So for this, the code is MIE-80 in my case, and the validity is exactly the same from the first day of this year. And the name and description for this should be allocation 80, allocation $80. The cost element category is 43, which is an internal activity allocation. Okay, now we can save this. And the third secondary cost element is the cost element for activity allocation of assembly hours. So the code is ASS80, the validity is exactly the same. The name that I'm gonna use is allocation assembly, and the category is 43. Then we click enter and verify that the data is correct. Then you can save. Now we need to create the activity types. Remember that activity types are organizational units within the controlling area that classify the activities performed by a cost center. For this exercise, the units of measure that we need to use are hours. So different cost centers will be charged between them based on hours. For doing that, we're going to use another transaction, which is KL01, and the activity type, so again, KL01, the activity type that we're going to use for this is M-80. The validity is from the first day of this year. Then we need to type the name and description. Should be the maintenance hour for our number, which is 80, maintenance numbers hours for our account, which is 80 as well. And then what we need to do is to type the activity type, which is hours, age. The cost center categories should be available for everyone. Then we need to choose the activity type category manual entry, manual allocation, which is 1. And then the allocation cost center is our maintenance secondary cost element, and we need to click enter just to verify that data is correct. Then we can save it. The second activity type that we're going to create is the activity type for assembly hours. So the activity type is A minus 80 and should be valid from the first day of this year. And the description name for this, I'm going to type assembly hours, and my account number for the description exactly the same, assembly hours 80. The activity type is age for hours. The cost center category should be for all cost center. So I'm going to type star. The activity type category is 1, which is manual entry, manual allocation, and the allocation cost element is assembly. So that's why I'm typing ASS minus 80. And we click enter to check that everything is correct, and then we can save. Now we're going to create a cost centers group for the canteen assessment. Remember that the cost center can be grouped together to form cost centers groups by various perspectives to model the company structures as a cost centers in the SAP system. For this specific scenario, we're going to create a group in order to form cost center hierarchies. So this group will store all the different cost centers that are going to be charged another cost centers. In this case, how the canteen will be charged other cost centers. So now we need to type the transaction KSH1, and the cost center group should follow this name, group minus, in my case 80, and then you need to type canteen cost receivers, and then you need to click on cost center. You need to differentiate that you need to realize that we have two different buttons with the same cost center. You need to choose the one which has some squares on it. So click that, and then you need to type all the cost centers that we created before. So they are CC, CA, 80, CC, MA, 80, CC, AS, 80, and then you can click enter. Then all the description associated to these codes will appear. In the case that they don't appear, you can delete what you have typed using these buttons. So I will do that as an example. You can select, and then you need to click on this button. Once you select it, you can delete it. Okay, so now I'm going to type my cost center again. Oops, I have an error, and in fact I have an error. I'm gonna do the same process again. I'm selecting, then deleting. CC, AS, 80. Now I have the three different cost centers. Now I'm gonna save my group. My group has been created. Now you have created all the master data that you need for this case story. We will continue with the cost center planning and integration with the PP model in the following video.